Yeah, I feel pretty live, so let's do it.
So we'll call the meeting to order, and the first order of business is the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that we live and work in Mi'kma'ki as a steward of the ancestral territory of the Mi'kma'ki people. We are all treaty people. I'll look for an approval of the agenda and the order of business. I'll look for a motion for that, please. Moved by Councillor Church, seconded by Councillor Bremner. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried. Next item is the approval of the minutes. For a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Warden Weber. Seconded by Councillor Coolin. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, so we have presentations. And I think Brian Webb will be starting that off. You have the floor, Brian.
Morning, Council. Yes, I'm going to be the one kicking this off, but we're going to have a parade of people to the mics for this first discussion topic for everybody around the table. So the first topic of discussion this morning is around growth and servicing. And what I wanted to do is start off by giving everybody an overview of what we're going to cover today, so everybody can know kind of the flow of what this first presentation is going to look like. So we're going to be starting off with some background and context on growth and servicing and how we got to where we are. So essentially the context and where we've come with our growth plan, why we're doing what we're doing, essentially is what I'm going to be covering for probably about the first 5 or 6 minutes of the presentation. Then we have some guests here today. So Connor Wallace, Ali, and Stacy from ZAP and EXP are here to provide an update on the work that we have done to date, we've completed to date on the Exit 6 Comprehensive Community Plan. So they're going to give you an update on where those things stand, and also recommendations for why we are in the process where we are. So just to kind of walk people through where we are right now, what we completed to date, and the next steps that we are anticipating from this point forward for some discussion. And this, just so everybody knows, is the first major initiative that's underway in support of the Municipal Growth Plan since it's been approved back in April by Council. So we will be touching on some other plans as well. You're going to be getting an update in a couple of weeks in December on another initiative that is underway on the growth plan, which is our marketing and communications plan to support the growth plan. So we'll be giving you some updates on that in a couple of weeks as well. And then once their presentation is completed, Fred is going to come up and provide as well an update, a servicing update on water and wastewater throughout the municipality. So he's going to be providing an update on the water servicing study that's underway, and it's going to highlight the importance of that work and how it connects to the growth plan and the work that ZAP is doing as well. So that's kind of what we're going to be walking through this morning. And at any point in time, obviously, feel free to ask questions along the way, but we're hoping at the end that we can have some good discussion around what you've heard throughout the course of the morning. So to set some context, just going to the next slide there, sorry, you're on the right one already. What we wanted to review is, like I said, starting with how we got here. So Council has identified growth as a strategic priority for some time now. And in 2023, we outlined some reasons for this being a priority. So they're listed up here, but it just basically in general, the idea behind this is the fact that growth is coming and we need to manage it properly. So the idea is it's better to manage things in advance to ensure quality of life and quality of place are maintained and enhanced. We've still continue to hear the fact that there are challenges with regards to workforce retention and attraction and the availability of attainable housing. That continues to be an issue. And planning for Exit 6 and the development pressures related to growth there continue to be something that is high priority to the municipality and to Council. So as part of this, Council also highlighted that municipal services, water and wastewater, are key to making sure we manage growth properly. And this is for a number of reasons, but mainly service land is very advantageous for the municipality. It allows us to direct growth to areas that are anticipated to grow and can manage it and can sustain it. And also allows us to induce and encourage growth towards those areas properly. So that's some high-level background and led us into the growth plan work that has been done over the past number of years. So in 2024, work got underway on the growth plan, and that resulted in the plan that was approved and adopted by council back in April of this year. So some of the findings, just to reiterate, from the growth plan is we found that the population in the municipality continues to age. However, population decline, which is what was happening up until about a decade ago, has reversed into growth. So in the past decade, we have seen that decline that was seen previously reverse into some significant growth in our area. That has, that combined with the fact of where we are, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but we have had persistent challenges with housing affordability in the region is part of what we found in the growth plan. And the rate of our construction has not kept up with the demand for housing in our area, which continues to contribute to the rising housing costs that we have seen across the municipality over the last number of years. And all of this leads to another finding that was found in the growth plan, which is there's a real need for us to retain and attract a younger demographic, a workforce demographic to our area in order to increase the share of the population that is in the workforce here locally in the municipality. So what that looks like in practice is hopefully the median age of our population will come down slowly over time is what we're looking for. So to summarize some of the high-level goals and priorities of the growth plan, what the growth plan identified is every action that has come out of this is focused on trying to support the development of housing supply. So that is a key priority that we have, is to try to ensure that we are supporting housing supply being built within the municipality. And we want to direct the supply of missing middle housing to our serviced hamlet areas. So a lot of the recommendations that came out of there focused on those core community centers and how we can direct growth of missing middle housing into those areas. We wanted to as well identify and support infrastructure that would be needed to support that. So you can see how these follow on with each other, is that if we're trying to encourage housing supply and we want it to go in areas where there is servicing, we need to identify what servicing is needed in order to support those being built within those hamlet areas. And this also leads to the final goal and priority, which is to retain and attract that workforce age population to our communities so that we can support economic development throughout the region. So when we look at the outcomes that we're looking for from the plan, we want younger people living and working locally, so both to live and work here. We want to increase our infrastructure investment to support, increase infrastructure investment that's supported by an increased tax revenue, because as more people move into the area, that increases their tax revenue, which can support our investment in infrastructure. And that growth also leads to more support for our local businesses. So it's centered around how we make the area more successful, more prosperous. So the growth plan itself provided 22 recommendations to be implemented in phases, so short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And so today we're providing an update on the comprehensive community plan for Exit 6, which we'll have, like I said, we'll have another update on December 4th, I think is what we're targeting, on the work completed on our growth and communications planning for the growth plan, to update you on the work underway with Hawk Communications. And so we'll be just kind of a teaser for that in a couple of weeks. It'll be an update on how we're evolving our positioning, our messaging to tie into the growth plan as well. So next slide here. In addition to this, because we want to point out all the things that the municipality has been doing to support growth, we are currently implementing 9 initiatives that have been approved under the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund. And so these were approved by Council as well in 2024. And I believe we've already provided an update on these in our CSM update previously. But essentially we are working on approximately $2 million in funding that we've received from the federal government to accelerate the supply of housing. And our target is to have 220 new permits for housing units to be issued by September of 2026. And we're well underway to meeting that goal, and of the 9 initiatives, which I won't go through there, but all are either underway or completed at this stage, and we can give any updates that anybody might be interested on where those stand at some point if interested as well. So now just to kind of get back to introducing the update that ZAP is about to provide, what just wanted to basically do here is, if you want to go to the next slide, Jen, is highlight the 5 recommendations that are in the growth plan that specifically relate to the servicing and its importance to managing growth well in the area. So these each build on each other, but I pulled these out of the growth plan so you can see how they directly relate to servicing in the area. So basically we're talking, I won't walk through each of these directly, but these are the 5 recommendations that came out of the growth plan specifically related to servicing, and I wanted everybody to kind of have them in front of them. And I wanted to focus on the one that is bolded there. If you wouldn't go to the next slide, Jen. So this bolded one talks about prioritizing the development of potable water supply systems in areas with sewer service expansion. So last week, I think it was, I could be correct, could be wrong on that, but council approved the work to investigate the water supply in the Hubbards area. So to do some test drilling in that area to work on the water supply. So that, as you're going to hear today from ZAP, it's crucially important for the next steps of this initiative that we're talking about today. And I also pulled out some of the reasons why we're doing this from the growth plan as well, because the development of water supply systems, I'm just going to, this middle one, will support the development of housing in areas best suited to accommodate growth, including the hamlets and Highway 103 exits. So we talk here about prioritizing the development of water systems in some of these key hamlet areas, especially, as you'll notice there, in Chester Basin and Hubbards, before considering water supply in other communities. And an important note that we wanted to pull out of this, just so everybody can understand how we are thinking about this as we've been implementing it, is this very much includes the village of Chester and other hamlet areas in future servicing plans. It's just that priority is given to support the development of housing in areas that are best suited to accommodate growth, which can then be expanded to service areas that are existing areas that are not quite as set up for growth in our municipality. So that is a basic overview of background of how we got here, and with that background as context, I wanted to introduce our guests here. So we have Connor and Ali from ZAP, and they're going to, along with Stacy from EXP, going to take you through the work that has been completed to date on the Exit 6 Comprehensive Community Plan, and once they're done, Fred is going to come up and provide an update on the water servicing and wastewater servicing in the municipality. So Connor, Ali, and Stacy.
Is this on? Okay, good. Everyone can hear me. Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to meet you all, and pleasure to be here. Thank you for your time. My name is Connor Wallace. I'm a planner and principal at ZAP Consulting. We've had the pleasure of working with staff over the past number of months. And with our team here, I have Ali Tabaza and Stacy Muse with EXP. Stacy's the engineer who's been working on the project, and Ali has been a fellow planner with myself at ZAP as we've been working on and coordinating with EXP and staff on the project to date. So I'll cover a bit of an update on where we're at and recommendations on next steps. I want to thank Brian for his thorough explanation on kind of the groundwork that led to the project that we're working on together, and talk about kind of where we're at now and what we recommend moving forward. So a bit of a background and objective as it relates to this specific project. In terms of local area context, I won't spend too much time on this, as all of you are very familiar with the local context. With about 1,200 residents in this coastal community of Hubbards, with it straddling the boundary of the municipality district of Chester and Halifax Regional Municipality. Significant population growth within projections and population growth that has occurred over recent years in this area. Proximity to major infrastructure upgrades, including transportation upgrades of the Highway 103. So the intent around this project was to, through the growth plan and directed by the growth plan, develop a secondary plan and growth strategy for this particular area due to those background and servicing factors. A graphic we kind of put together that represents the visuals, kind of visually represents where growth may be going in this area, that 27%, up to 27% of the residents through growth will be new residents in this area, which is it can be a very significant portion. So it's important to understand where those new residents may live, how they will connect and integrate with existing community. So that was the growth aspect really is what drove this work. Next slide, please. Our approach, so I'll do a bit of an overview of the overall approach, and then as you can see here, we've outlined kind of where we're at, what we've kind of mainly completed, and what's been yet to be completed within our scope of services. There's 4 phases within our scope. It consists of initially doing a technical background review to identify where is our servicing boundary and development boundary. So that occurred at the beginning stages of the projects, and I will, provide some updates on later slides, the content around that, and certainly can respond to any questions or clarifications that council may have. But that was really the background review and groundwork that led to and will inform future decision-making for the project. We then started looking at how we can develop different land uses and layouts within this serviceable boundary, what types of different options around how land use could be laid out, how growth could be managed within this area. And this was intended to be a series of options and ideas that was intended to inform the next phase up here, which is engagement. So we're intending to go out to community with that kind of options framework around how this area can grow, not with a full plan on how it can grow, and options of different ideas on how it can grow. And the ideas around those conversations will lead to refinement and direction towards a preferred approach. And that will be a collective process in the final 2 phases of the project, ultimately bringing the plan to council for consideration and adoption at the tail end. Where we are now, we have done some initial work around how land use and growth could be managed in different option frameworks within the lands. With that said, maybe this is a good time to segue to the next slide. We want to be, prior to that, really look at the servicing aspects, just based on the policies that are embedded that Brian noted. It's really important to understand that, yes, this area has a lot of opportunities for growth around infrastructure upgrades, as I mentioned, particularly around transportation. Water and sewer is also very important to think about when we're thinking about growth, when we're thinking about alternative forms of growth that may be more dense. All those things require central servicing, and a more central servicing approach really provides more opportunity to explore and innovate when you're trying to create these growth nodes. So in our technical background review, we did consisted of mainly 4 components. We looked into the background planning context, so both statutory planning documents, the existing planning strategy and land use bylaw, and also non-statutory planning documents such as the growth strategy that really provide overarching direction for staff and for council to inform future documents. And we also looked at the HRM planning context, because this is bordering HRM planning community, and how those 2 could correlate and interact with one another. More of the land, looking at the land itself, we looked at its topography, geology, the water at a desktop level. This is all more of a initial desktop analysis, and flood and intrusion risk. We also did more of a boots on the ground, survey of what is the existing built environment. So what is there today? What is the kind of scale? What are the different types of uses? What development activity is happening today? And what is the existing kind of transportation networks, not just for cars, but there is obviously the trail that runs through this portion of the community as well, and how does that all interact when we're considering growth? And lastly, looking at the servicing. How could a strategy of this area be tackled from a servicing lens? And that is really going to be groundwork that informs how land use can be approached as well, because they really are tied to one another. When we're thinking about space, when we're thinking about how land uses interact with one another, how they are serviced has a really big impact on that spatially. So it's really important to understand what options are available before we really go have clear conversations with the community. Otherwise, we're not being clear about what's possible. Maybe we'll move to the next slide from there. So looking at the servicing, what our technical background memo led to, the result of it was the identification of a preliminary servicing and development boundary. Now it's kind of difficult to see on this slide, but there is a black dashed outline that represents mainly around the community of Hubbards and bordering a portion of it where the HRM boundary is, and then a portion of the lands on the north side of the highway interchange as well that was newly constructed. And we'll go to the next slide from there, please. This is a map showing this is a bit clearer here. You can see in the dark red the preliminary service boundary, and this is showing the existing zoning framework within the statutory bylaws today. There's the existing density, the existing zoning framework. Through this, we are looking at different land use options and proposed zoning for the area to support density and alternative housing types. Next slide, please. In terms of the geology and water well distribution, this is a map showing different areas where there are different NS water wells. So there, you can see there that, and then the size of those represent their yield. So there's a number of them that, and this, to my knowledge, is basically desktop data that's been available that was correlating part of Sandy's analysis. And then what we've identified here in the yellow is an area where there may be potential for well field supply and water supply to support this growth. And so and this is going to lead into the conversation that Fred will be updating you on, as they are looking at more kind of boots on the ground testing in the area for this. That's really going to help inform the work that we're doing. So maybe we'll move to the next slide from there. So yeah, this is showing basically from our analysis where there may be opportunities. You can see in the red there that there's potential opportunity for strong yield potential from wells. So that was done through Stacy's analysis, and this is now informing where that field work will occur. So it was really important and great work to provide staff, and the timing of it worked out really well, that they're now able to be informed by this information as Fred and his team are starting to navigate their work. We'll move to the next slide, please. So just to kind of wrap up here, the status of where we're at in next steps, the process diagram there, I mentioned we're basically through the second step of the 4-step process, so about halfway through. The final stage we're really looking forward to and is really exciting. It's going to really talk about options around how this community can grow with community, with council. Prior to doing that, though, it's really important for us to understand how it can be serviced. And that's really clear within the growth plan policy, within the, all of those statutory and non-statutory planning documents that are directing council. And it allows us to have more informed and clear conversations with the public about what's possible and what's not possible. So the studies completed to date has really kind of painted this picture for us on where we're at. And it's great that it's been really correlated with the work that Fred's doing, and he'll be updating you on shortly. And that will then give us more clear information on how we move forward with this project. And then through that, as I mentioned, we'll involve lots of conversations with community and council. And ultimately, hopefully leading forward to the consideration of a growth plan for this area. So in terms of next steps, our next step recommendation, which I understand is kind of in the works, is going into more of that well field investigation in the area, and that will inform how we kind of proceed with our options, development options for the project. So yeah, I think that's a great segue to Fred and his slides. We're here, our team's here. Stacy's here as well for many maybe more technical questions. I'm certainly not an engineer myself, but respect all their technical expertise. So he's here to answer any questions. And I'll hand it over to Fred. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Basically, with the water study that's out there right now, Dillon Consulting is helping us with this. And through that, there's 3 areas being identified where we're looking at the Henry Lake watershed, which is surface water. The Bezanson Lake, also surface water. And then with the information from ZAP and EXP, we're also looking at the Exit 6 for groundwater investigation. Just a quick update. There's a rough shot of the Henry Lake watershed. We do have water level monitoring equipment in the area. We were able to get some really good data so far for the fall, and then we'll leave that in place in the spring. We'll be checking it through the winter, make sure there's no ice problems in other areas like that. They did analysis of the water samples, typical lake, and they'll have a potential yield for that system by the end of December. And then there'll be a concept engineering study in January following. So we could have a pretty good update for everybody, maybe in a policy and strategy in February, but we'll know more as we finish that study. Right. Bezanson Lake, similar, but we don't have any data monitoring in the area. So it's pretty much a desktop review based on reports that are already available via environment. We'll have a potential yield by the end of December, and again, a concept engineering by the end of January. And here's a look at what they have found in the exit 6 area. The yellow is 100 to 150 liters per minute, and the orange is 150 to 200. A lot of that is the development there by the community. I forget the name of the mobile home. Yeah, 10 Beaches there. They had a very good well that Garth was able to find, and then with the exit 6 development, they had another well. So again, they looked at other wells in the area, and they feel that that area is worth having a look at. And presently, Dylan is working on lining up the field work and give us an update there. But we feel that's the best area to try for groundwater. The surface water yields were studied in by another group, and they were found not to be acceptable they didn't have enough water for the Hubbards area. And the only other lake was Connaught Lake, which is quite far away. So we feel this is the best shot, and we'll know more soon. Right. Yeah, exactly, a lot less filtration, right? But yeah. Yeah, and then there's just a couple of areas where municipal wastewater services are, and the potential one for Hubbards, right? In Western Shore, just a quick wrap, that's pretty good right now. There may be a little tweaking, but we have pretty good capacity. Chester Basin, as you know, a new wastewater treatment plant going there. New Ross is close to capacity, but we had a study done last year, what options could be done to increase that if necessary. Chester is underway right now for construction, and Otter Point as well. And in Mill Cove, we're looking at, we can't expand to another 70 units with the capital project we have on that we've been carrying forward. But if more developments are in the area, we have to look at something different. And that's what we have in the next couple of years, to have somebody go and say, okay, what can we do with this parcel of land to expand past the 70? And then exit, Hubbard's, it basically depends on water, in my opinion. Right.
Councilor Vino.
I can't remember what the scope of the study was for Hubbards, but we're going to have a look at, see what we can do for sewer around the interchange. I mean, we talk a lot about Mill Cove because there's already something there. I
Yeah.
think that if we were to close our eyes and envision where growth's going to happen in Hubbards, it probably wouldn't be Mill Cove plant. That's there because it was a legacy project from the federal government.
The military, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
likely we're going to need to put a plant somewhere in Hubbards.
Yeah.
Even if we were unable to find water in Hubbards, we're still going to need sewer, just because I can envision easily a scenario where we're going to have more dense activity that would be not very easily handled by on-site sewage, and we'll end up with a situation like they find themselves in Tantallon, where everybody's on a mini plant and it's a friggin' mess. So I just want to know where we're heading in terms of studying the getting rid of the dirty water once we process through it.
Yeah, I'll let Stacy jump in on that, but basically, once we know the density, then we can decide the right plant location. There's a few
But
areas that we probably.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm wondering. Do we even know where we can, because we're gonna have to have a discharge somewhere. Do we have any idea where's that pipe gonna go? Is that, we gotta start talking to people about that, because they're gonna be pretty freaked out when we first introduce the idea to them. They just finally cleaned up all their own little mini pipes from their own houses, and now we're gonna put a great big pipe that's coming from hundreds of houses, thousands maybe.
Yeah, potentially, yeah, exactly.
That is in the concepts, that potential options on different services, sewer boundaries, so that.
It's kind of,
Okay. Just to speak to that, and Stacy will hopefully jump in if I say anything wrong here, but that work has already begun and has started. It's just we haven't shown it publicly yet because it's so tied to the water supply and the zoning work that's being done. And we don't want to take that for engagement until we are sure that we can service it from a water standpoint as well. So if the work is underway, it's there, it's just not
Yeah,
presentable yet.
I get that, but I probably, I guess, to reiterate, I probably will end up needing a plant, even if we couldn't find water, even if we couldn't bring water to that community.
Yeah.
Like, we have many communities right now that don't have water, but we have sewer for a reason. And we'll likely need to service them with sewer. It's pretty,
Yeah, no, just to add a bit to that as well, and totally agree with your sentiment as well. I think where we're at in this process as it relates to the water service has kind of put us in a bit of a point of pause to figure out where there is opportunity from a water service perspective. If there, say, is an opportunity for water service, there is then a pivot of looking at what does this look like with sanitary service and central alone, and then having more kind of patchwork water approach. But again, we can't really have those conversations with clarity until we understand the water situation. But we do, from an initial analysis, see that there's opportunity to look at a more central sanitary service approach to this growth area. When we started looking at water, this was identified, and that's what's kind of led us to where we're at right now. So I'm expecting over the next couple months, once we get clarity on the water direction, we'll be coming back to this group, to council, with this is what we've heard, and this is what our approach moving forward is from both a water and sanitary perspective, and getting some direction and feedback before we dive back into engagement is kind of where
no,
we're
I
at.
can't wait, you know, if we, well, I know, if we service Hubbards with water and sewer and we allow land use control that will allow for growth, it will become the fastest growing community in Nova Scotia.
It's fair. Yeah.
Okay. So are we talking water and sewer at the same time? Yeah.
Possibly, yeah, so possibly, and what from and I don't know if Connor wants to speak in on this, but what we started the work on the wastewater side of things, but then as we were looking at the density, missing middle housing capacity for the area, it really is dependent on water. So what we can service in the area with water would be this amount, but if there's no water in the area, it would be this amount, which changes how much you can serve, how much you need to build your wastewater facility at the same time. So they're coming together. It's just when we go out to community, we need to know, is there even the potential for this? Because if there's not enough water servicing for this, then we have to go down to here, and then that dictates what your wastewater capacity needs to be. Because I think
Yeah, no, that's a great way to explain it. Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. Yeah.
Continue, or whoever was doing. Fred? Fred's done.
Yeah, I think that was it. So I think we're certainly open to any more questions or clarifications.
questions,
members
anybody?
Council may have.
Speak now, or Fred.
Where do you go with this?
Yeah. Thank you. Great. Well, yeah, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you all, and look forward to continuing to collaborate as we work through this together. And it's been a pleasure working with staff to date. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of the project. And I think we'll have some clarity here in the next couple months as we get some more kind of boots on the ground data. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
And just, and if you don't mind, just to kind of put a nice little pin on the next steps, one of the main reasons we wanted to provide the update is the fact that originally in the initial plan, we had told council we would be going out for engagement fall of 2025. Because of the fact that we are waiting for the results of the water study to come in to inform this, that has been pushed until the spring. So I wanted to make sure that council understands that as well, that that's part of the reason we're giving this update, is because that initial engagement will be postponed until spring because of the fact that we need this work to properly inform that and feel confident in bringing the plans to the community to update them on this. So I just wanted to make sure that was well understood as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think the plan would be to do another check-in with council before we go out and do the engagement, to sort of give you the draft concepts. And then, once you have the draft concepts and are aware of them, then they would go out to the public for consultation and some engagement. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point. Yep. Awesome. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
on to the, is there any more discussion around
Any
the
more
water?
discussion or anything? So we'll move on to topic 2. Correct? On open roads?
Yeah, on open roads.
I don't know who's doing the present, Miss Pizantz. Fred's coming with a lot of paper.
Yeah, we're gonna tag team this. Yeah, Tammy's gonna discuss how we got here and that, and when it comes time to the actual surveys, I'll jump in and just note certain things.
Can we just ask council, or ask a question? Is there anybody in the room that's connected to the YouTube feed? We're getting some feedback on the mics and we're.
But that happened
That
last
could
night
be-
at a meeting. I think it's
Did
that
it?
mic,
Okay,
right
could be
there.
that mic, okay.
Tammy, you wanna move on to that one? Yeah, it was that mic last night, I
Okay.
think. When Garth was here.
Okay.
I think that was feeding back. It was, yeah. The volume on that mic must be up for some reason. Holy smoking holy. Good morning. This looks like a legal document, huh? Okay, Tammy, you can proceed.
Proceed. Good morning, council. Thanks for having us here today. On open roads, so a little bit of background on open roads. There are currently 85 unopened road sections, which could be a road parcel or just a reserved piece of land for a future road parcel or an old road that got moved, so there's still a section of land for a road. Within the province, 66 are provincial and the remaining 19 have no known ownership. On October 10th, 2024, council directed staff to commission some legal surveys on 11 prioritized unopened roads, which is a requirement by the province. Before they'll consider us taking them over, we have to have a survey done of them. On your slide, next slide. The motion is there. I don't think I need to read it, but it was motioned to do the 4. It was all in favor, so we went through. The next slide is the 11 unopened roads. Most of them are in Chester, and a few of them in the outlying areas. So next slide is the north parcel of Prince Street. So it goes from Main Street down to Mill Creek. The next slide is the north parcel of Brunswick Street. Next slide is the south parcel of King Street. So it's just a little divot at the bottom. Next slide is the south parcel of Prince Street. So this goes down the hill towards the Fireman Monument, and there's a lift station down there. There are 3 parcels of Granite Street. There is this section that goes to the back harbor. Next slide, please, sorry. The section on the left-hand side is the section that goes down to the back harbor. There's a section in the middle, and then there's a section that also goes down to back harbor over the cliff. Next slide is the south parcel of Brunswick Street. Next slide is the west parcel of Pleasant Street. The next slide is the west parcel of Union Street. And the next slide is the west parcel of Regent Street. Next slide is the Old Annapolis Road. So this is the old road that would go between the communities of Sherwood and New Russell. It's roughly about 12 kilometers in distance. And the next slide is Old Highway number 3. This is where the realignment of the highway happened at one point, and there's a little sliver of land in Sim Settlement. So we had hired Berrigan Surveys, and they've been working on this since the spring, surveying all of them. As you can understand, Annapolis Road took quite a while to get the survey done.
Especially with the fire ban.
With the fire ban, they couldn't be in the woods, and So we have a couple pictures in the slide showing the current condition of the old Annapolis Road, so I'll turn it over to Fred. Oh, this one, Fred.
Okay, this is where the legal surveys come in, right? Again, that was undertaken by Berrigan Surveys. And just like little notes of each as I go through. Prince Street would provide access to Mill Brook. There's some existing driveways in there, whether they're plowed by the province or not, we haven't determined. There's, a dwelling on the right of way, wood box.
Excuse me, Fred,
Yes.
sorry. Andre, you have a question?
No, I think I bumped it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Right, yeah. And there is municipal wastewater infrastructure there, but we already have the easement, it's just a pipe that goes through the back there, so some pros and cons to that. The next parcel is Brunswick Street. There's no water access, it goes down to Tremont, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should we go with
One by one.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, just-
And, any that do have merits, yeah, any that we do have merits, and staff would take a deeper investigation and bring something back to report to council. So, yeah, Prince Street, go ahead.
Is this the first one?
Yes,
On the screen.
yeah. Yeah, and there's a manhole at the end, but it's not an overflow pipe. It does go through the back to their municipal land. But, yeah, I mean, if the Department of Transportation does plow that, then we would have to take that over if we took the right of way. But we could do that through an agreement likely.
What is this wood box?
Yeah, it's just one toward the back, if you go to the north.
What's it used for?
It's one of the residents have approached.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is.
Box for wood,
For the wood, for the furnace or the
Firewood?
stove, firewood.
likely, yeah. Not a big deal for that one. But there is a dwelling within the right of way as well.
Right at the start.
But whether it's a problem or not, you probably want to have one of those letters of comfort drawn up, right? But it's more or less that the access to Millbrook that I think would be advantageous. Right.
What would we use that?
Excuse me, Councillor Vino, thank you. You have to, for the live feed, we must do this. I'm sorry, I know it bothers you, but. Go ahead, Councillor Vino.
So let's talk about maybe what we could do with this. Maybe that would be the best. What is that we could do with these properties, each one by one? So that, yeah, so I can see here that we have access to Millbrook. Okay, good. What are we gonna do with that? Are we gonna use it to fill fire trucks, or are we gonna, what do we wanna do with it? What could you envision that we would do with this property, should we own it?
My understanding from how this whole process started is that it was to ensure public access in the future, because the residents are encroaching from either side or have reached out to the province to take it over, which would block public access to the water
Yeah,
in the
so,
future.
like, for example, where, like, in ocean accesses, there's a few that actually touch down on the harbors and stuff like that. Those are really kind of obvious ones. This one, a little less obvious for me, so I just, from staff's perspective, I understand sort of the history, because I was there. But, like, what could you envision us using this access for? I guess I think that would be helpful, because we're gonna at some point get to a point where we're gonna have to decide what we're gonna petition the province to buy, I guess.
Well, really for us, not a lot. I mean, we can't see the sewer needing to be expanded in that area. There's a pipe there already. We already have an easement. So we could likely do the work within that easement, Water would be better, of course, but there's,
No real reason.
yeah, on the engineering side of things, right? It's
Yeah, because I mean.
not a lot of bang for the buck.
Millbrook, I mean, that's, I don't know what you could do with that, like from a recreation standpoint, it's just a little brook,
Yeah,
You can go down and look for frogs or something, I don't know.
yeah. Could be better access off Victoria Street, right? So,
Yeah.
Millbrook, yeah.
Councillor Church.
Thank you. I'll just say we'll probably have to prioritize these because this sounds like it would be at the bottom of the list in the sense, you know,
Could
we'll
be.
have to ask the province and they're going to want money, so,
A
you know.
lot of times, like Otter Point, sorry to interrupt, is we just had to pay for the survey and ask them. So the financial part's already done, technically. yeah.
But I mean, if there's real no use for it, I mean, why ask for something that,
Exactly. yeah.
that we really don't need? So I think we'll have to kind of list them in priority and then make a decision how many we're gonna ask,
Yeah.
offer, you know.
I guess mark this low for now.
Yes, I would.
I think the
agree.
intention, just so you're aware, the intention here is to have some of this conversation today in this session. And then we would come back with a staff report with a proposed priority list based on the conversation today. So not asking you to make a decision on priority, but to sort of get the feel for, is this something that is like a higher on the interest list or something that kind of floats to the bottom? And then we can prioritize and come back with a staff report with that proposed list.
Councillor Brenner.
Thank you, Deputy Ward.
Oh, sorry, I thought it turned you on, buddy.
Yeah.
My eyes aren't what they used to be.
Still not on.
Oh, we've got too many people on.
Oh,
that's
okay,
why.
sorry.
So you need to
We'll take,
say no there.
Turn everybody on. Sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. I just want to, I understand the priority list. I just want to be cautious that we don't decide we don't want to have anything to do with all of them or any of them, because there could be issues that arise that we go through this effort. We should be careful of what we get rid of and what we don't get rid of. Yeah, exactly. We've already paid for the surveying, and just to say, I would say any landowner adjacent to that would love to have these roads closed and taken off the possible use list, but we've gone through this exercise, and we need to be very cautious, I think, on where we do. I agree with Councillor Reno, you know, maybe in this individual case, the only thing would be the water at the end, but there could be something arise. And that's right. So I just caution you, and I agree with the list of prioritized. Thank you.
okay, Tammy, you can continue.
Brunswick Street, North Parcel. This parcel goes between, I think it's Tremont and Union. It's a one-lane road. Staff drove down it and had to back out of it. It's basically private driveways use at the moment, and it doesn't access water, and it doesn't actually connect to Tremont at the present time, so.
Yeah, and there's no wastewater infrastructure there either. That'd be pretty low, yeah. Right. Now, the south parcel of King Street is interesting.
I'm sorry, Councillor Vino?
So back to this one that almost connects to Tremont, well, where the easement that would be, I guess if Tremont Street would be extended, you know, can we anticipate that these lots here alongside, they're not serviced right now? Can you anticipate us needing to run services or access these lots in some way? You know, I'm just trying to see, like, how do you, like, I guess you got a few driveways here, but the lot 2B, for example, like, how is that accessed?
Some are accessed from Tremont, their private section down at the bottom where the old boatyard was. And their sewer is down there, so they go down over the bank to the sewer as well.
All right, yeah, like okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right, and I mean, I think part of council's previous rationale was like, you know, even trail development through this, like if people wanted to somehow get out towards Duke Street and come up through this way, they could walk their dogs or whatever, you know, if they have dogs. It's disgusting, but you know, they could go up through here and get to Duke Street. I just don't know. It's a little tough. I understand. I know what now we're looking at. It's a bit better than the original mapping, but you anyways, we're not here to make a decision, that's not the purpose of this meeting, but any additional information you can provide on other potential uses in your report, I think will be helpful to us. They go beyond the scope of running a sewer or putting a wharf at the end of it, you know, there's other potential uses, and, you know, I think it's gonna be a pretty low cost to obtain some of this, because we've already paid for the survey, so, so then the idea is, you know, what, if we put our heads together, what potential for these little pieces?
Yeah,
There wouldn't be a wharf at the end of this one. It actually, Tremont is built to the bottom of that. It's like a hill coming down to Tremont, and the little square you see at the top end of Tremont is where a lift station is.
Right here?
Yeah, so that's actually Back Harbor right there,
Oh, cool.
but it doesn't actually attach to the water, it attaches to Tremont itself.
Just before you, Sam just said that maybe Chad should be involved in these discussions because it's recreational involved? Okay, I see Todd, please, acknowledge that. Warden Weber?
Well, I mean, I know we're going through this and I understand it and I want to know all the detail, but at the end of the day, it appears as though there's no real cost to us because we've already done all the survey work, so.
well, there may be future costs associated with these lands
Well, if you
too.
wanted to develop them into something, but if you take some of these ones that we don't really have a use for at the moment, but we've already paid the expense, who knows what 20 years from now will look like?
Yeah,
You know, so I'm not 100% sure why we just don't continue on and take them all.
There's
Since
one,
we
there's
already
one
paid
I
for
would
it.
wait for, there's one I don't think we should.
Well, there may be, if there's one that you're gonna tell me about, but I mean, so far
Yeah.
I've seen.
as we go through, yes.
As we go through, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Councillor Bremner?
Thank you, Deputy Warden. I agree fully. I think that we should not throw these out. I think, you know, there may be one or two that we have to have further discussions on, but we've done the work. The potentials for 10, 20 years, there may be an interest in something that creates, I can almost see the land disputes happening if we don't use them and they start wanting to encroach on that and all kinds of things. So they're part of a road system that exists. Yeah, I would be in favor of keeping them what's there.
Hey, Tammy, you continue.
South parcel of King Street. So this does abut right to the water. The yacht club uses it as a driveway, but there's also a massive storm structure going through it that the province has, so we need to know if we're gonna take responsibility for that storm as well if we take this parcel over, so. It gives us water access, but we'd have to investigate a little bit more on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Just before you, Councillor Bremner, Sam said that water drain was put in by the municipality.
Yeah, I remember that being put in years ago,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good information.
Yeah, we'd have to determine the ownership and what shape it's in, and maybe we give an easement back to the province for them to maintain.
Councillor Bremner?
Thank you, Deputy Warden, and as Fred knows, this is the piece of land that I get the most calls on and questions and concerns and options that could be used. So again, this would be the hotbed right here, I believe, in most of the ends of the roads that go to the water. So this is one we may want to be thoughtful over for many reasons. Thank you.
Tammy, continue.
Okay, next parcel is the south parcel of Prince Street, so it goes from Pleasant Street down to Victoria. So we do have a
Wastewater main there, yeah.
wastewater main and lift station currently in that area, so for that purpose, for upgrading, could be very useful
Yeah.
for us to have that
Yeah.
property rather than an easement.
Yeah, there's lots of encumbrances, but, you know, it would increase our room if we had to work on the wastewater main.
So if I could ask, I'm looking at the parcel, just some encumbrance, fences, hedges, and stone walls. So if we take, what goes on there if we take these roads?
So we would own the road, we would upgrade the driveway down, currently we just drive down the grass to get to the lift station for any of the works that need to be done, so we would do a little bit better access for maintenance And we'd also have that area if we have to upgrade that to a larger station.
Okay. Sorry, Councillor Vino, just give me 1 second here.
We're actually a couple on the slides too, we're a couple ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, Councillor Vino.
Am I looking at the right one here then?
Yes.
Okay, so do we have any idea who installed the wooden fence that's right in the middle of this one? Is that, because the Village of Chester has like a bit of a park there for the firefighters? Firefighter, and like a
And
memorial.
we would
park.
have to investigate that, but, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. You know, maybe it's something that if we need to dig up our pipe and that's a problem, then it comes down. And then it gets, it's either their cost or we relocate it to the property line.
Next slide.
I think Sam has some knowledge here. Sam?
Well, I just said that the village had put a fence up along that road, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
it may encroach on the road,
it does, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, by about 20 feet.
So
Councillor Bremner.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. This would be the second one I've received. The most in the history of this has been well known by many of us in the community. The grass has been there, the grass has not been there, the grass has been there. It comes and goes, and it's been a dispute by a couple of the landowners in the area and always wanted to be closed, but I believe it does serve a purpose for emergencies. If there was something in the middle of the village you needed to get up and down, you may be able to run a water line or some option there. I believe it's been used once in my lifetime there for an emergency, but it's definitely something that has been an interesting discussion for many decades. Thank you.
it is drivable, that one.
Yes.
I wonder
Don't destroy the equipment. Councillor Vino.
I wonder when the time comes if council would be interested in just offering this piece to the village and assuming an easement over it.
Yeah.
So that we can maintain any services we have in there, but then it becomes at least controlled and they could be added to their parklands. Since they already have an encroachment on it.
Once we enter, we have options.
Councillor Bremner.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Councilor Reno, I know there's been some discussion on doing some improvements in the future to that park that is Fireman Memorial area, and, you know, that may be an option they could consider and look at. Again, I don't think we should throw it away or not use it because it could be potentially useful under certain situations. Thank you.
Next slide, Granite Street. In this image, there are two parcels. There's a parcel that goes from Regent Street to Union Street, and then Union Street to Back Harbor. The section that has, between Regent Street and Union Street, we already have a walking trail that we maintain through there. And the section that goes down to the harbor, it is quite a steep drop down to the harbor. I don't know about water access for sure on that one, but there's
Some needs to
also
be
a
tough,
woodshed. and-
Very steep, yeah.
So,
Yeah, so no wastewater services, but there's AT potential, I guess.
Any more questions? You can continue, Tammy.
next slide. The other portion of Granite Street, which does go down to the Back Harbor, parcel 1, it is maintained as a road. It's used more for driveways. There is some encumbrances. We do have water on it, and it does have water access to the harbor itself, so.
Yeah, there was discussion about this particular parcel before where they tried to purchase from.
From the province.
Transportation, yeah. You know, there would likely be a takeover of snow and ice control duties or money, but, you know, it's an opportunity, right?
Next slide. This is a south parcel of Brunswick Street, identified as parcel 2-25. I'm not sure how much they plow it. This is mainly used as a driveway. We do have municipal sewer on there, and it does have a steep drop too, but it has water access, but it's a very steep drop down, so.
Yeah, and maybe one or we could upgrade the road to get better access for the lift station at the bottom, so that part would make sense, but. Yeah, we do have an easement, but if, you know, if you ever upgrade a lift station, there's so much more land you need usually, so. Yeah.
Next slide. So we have now the west parcel of Pleasant Street. This has a very steep drop, 10, 12 feet down to Victoria. It does, I think the village is maintaining it as part of the park kind of thing, and there's a driveway. As handover feature to the village, it makes sense, but for us, it doesn't. There's a little bit of pipe, I believe, through there.
Yeah, we do have one pipe through it, but, you know, it'd be too steep for a road.
Yeah.
Basically just part of the park now anyways, bit of a tree buffer. Maybe not a lot of value for us except for maintaining that sewer, but again, it could be something we could discuss later with the village.
Next slide. So now this is the west parcel of Union Street. Again, there's a steep drop down to Back Harbor. It does have water access, but it's a very steep drop. It's mainly used as a driveway. The first corner is part of the cemetery, and then it's a driveway in behind the house, in behind that.
Yeah,
I believe they pump their sewer up from there as well, so.
yeah.
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to the next slide.
So there's sewer on this road, is there?
There's no sewer, they pump from their house, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no infrastructure currently in that portion. Next slide is the west parcel of Regent Street. So this is that corner of Brunswick that went down to Tremont. Regent goes straight through. Again, it's a steep drop down to a private road, and then it goes across it and then to the harbor. There's a little bit of maintenance, holes in sewer in there, but
Yeah.
it's a very narrow driveway basically, currently.
Yeah, there's an easement in the back, whether you would access it all the way from the north, from Tremont all the way down to there. You know, it'd be better to go through this parcel. But there's also a culvert there as well, so it's okay, you know, who owns the culvert, right? What would be our responsibilities if we did take this?
Next slide. So next 7 slides are Old Annapolis Road. There are some encumbrances, dwellings, gates, there's no water access. This is a 11.5 kilometer trail that would take some time to design and construct if we did take it on.
Yeah, there's lots to consider for this one, so it'd be quite a detailed report coming back for this. Like what are the access rights of the residents? Are there any areas in contention with the province? We see on there, like there's some buildings within the right of way, whether that be a problem for a trail or not. But there's also, you know, wetlands. Well, we wouldn't have been there across the road in the future, so is that an indication of a collapsed culvert, a collapsed bridge? What's going on, right? And then how do we alter that wetland now that it's established? So there's a lot behind this one. It does seem like an encouraging thing to go after, but, you know, we'll have to do some more boots on the ground before we bring this forward.
This won't be a quick turnaround design.
Yeah,
There's also some notes from the surveyor. The property owners have spray painted their property line as the center line of this area, which it's not, so there will be a lot of public consultation on where it is, what we're doing, and the design. I would see this, if we do take it on, being like a 3-4 year process type thing.
So, yeah, that brings up a question. So if we go down this road, will there be public consultation?
To take them over?
Yeah.
No.
No, okay.
It's our choice.
It's our, okay. I'm just thinking, yeah.
Be a good
because you
idea.
just mentioned-
To design?
Certainly.
Yes,
Certainly.
yes.
Councilor Vino?
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, council at the time, you know, in the past have turned away from developing trail networks that are on privately held lands, you know, having memorandums of understanding with the province, as we do with the old rail trail bed. We've been in favor of that. We've been doing that for many years now. When did we start that? In the 90s? Yeah, so, and it's been a success. And I don't think that the idea of taking this over or obtaining control of this was so that tomorrow we'd put a trail through here, but the first step in any kind of visioning for another trail system, which builds on the success of the one we have now, would be to get control of it. And right now it doesn't really go anywhere, but in the future, if we were able to obtain this for minimal investment, then at least then the options are available to you if you can somehow join on and create a spur somehow. I think there's merit to this. I look forward to the detailed report. Now I understand that there's nothing that makes people go crazy other than more than land disputes. So, but I understand the sentiment that brought us to this point. So.
Yeah, and I think it's, Councillor Connors should be involved in.
Well, she's very much in favor.
Oh, absolutely, and yeah. Councillor Bremner.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. I would also agree. I've heard Councillor Connor say that this is a very important. I like this for history. This is history of where we've gone and what we've been, and then we would just, yeah, land dispute's going to happen, but I think this is important to consider where we are looking at the trail options and what can happen in the future with the detailed report. Again, I don't think anyone should think that we should just say no to this. It's something that needs to be considered, very important to the area and the history.
Next slide.
Sorry, Terry.
I just wanted to, so I anticipate that when this comes back with a report from staff with prioritization, this one would float closer to the top of that list. And then I think what it would mean for us is that it would probably be something that during our strategic planning and budgeting process, we would want to talk about what are the next steps? Do we want to have a workshop, or do we want to have discussions around you know, potential uses of this and potential trail development? It doesn't automatically trigger that we're doing a trail here.
No.
That certainly is something that we would want Councillor Connors at the table for. But I think it would be a much larger discussion and probably a much larger strategic priority for council, so.
Warden Weber.
Yeah, like I look forward to the detailed report and all of that, but I mean, just because we take ownership doesn't mean we have to get in a fight with all the property owners. I mean, it could be 10, 15 years before we ever decide we want to do anything with it. And,
Yeah, just so there's any current disputes, I don't know there'd be any adverse procession if they've used it for 20 years, you know, these encumbrances, right?
it's possible, but, you know.
Yeah.
Typically, most of this would be owned by,
Sorry, Sam.
am I on? Well, yeah, typically, these are owned by the Crown, which is also highways.
Yeah,
So adverse possession doesn't affect.
Okay, good.
that. If it's highways, it owns it,
Yeah.
transportation.
Yes.
Yeah. If it's DNR, it's a different story, but I think these are mostly all Department of Transportation.
These are, yeah.
So
Yes.
they're not affected by adverse possession.
okay, good.
Great.
Right.
Councillor Fino.
And further, I think being prepared for the future, we don't know what can come. You know, would council in a year or two decide they want to build 12 kilometers of new trail? You know, that's for the council at that time to decide, but it feel like it's unlikely, but you don't know if the federal government may decide they're gonna roll out like some sort of fund for active living, and that we can apply, and if we get a, you know, we could be sponsored, we could be maybe in a position where we're shovel ready with, you know, a project that could be funded by another partner, and without putting these things in place, you know, where we would be flat-footed, and you know, I think, you know, there is a desire by, you know, most of our density in our municipalities along the coastline. And, but but we still have a lot of residents out in the Windsor Road, out in New Ross Way that don't have access to our most valuable recreational asset, and that's the trail system. Somehow, if we can connect those and then bring them down into that in the future, and it may take decades for us to actually find a way, but, you know, you have to start assembling the pieces at some point, and I think that's the purpose of this exercise, and it's exciting, I think.
Councillor Church.
Thank you. The trail is used a bit now by people that have ATVs. I do know that. And probably there's a little encroachment in the Sherwood side, because I know there's some people that have camps there, and then you have the Sherwood Golf Club. I don't know if they have any encroachment at all, possibly. So there'll probably be a little bit of work needed on the Sherwood end, but,
Yeah. Could be some partnerships in there.
yeah,
so,
it could be, but I mean, I know it is used a bit as an ATV trail. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
I've been through there myself, actually, quite a long time ago. But, and one of the bridges did go out and it was put back in. I don't know any details about that, so.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll
there's
just say,
lots of surprises over that stretch, no doubt.
So
Ward Weber,
anyway, it has
sorry.
opportunity.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, I just don't see the real harm in owning them, because we may or may not ever do anything with them. But I mean, we just finished talking about a growth strategy, where we're trying to encourage more people and high rises and this and that and everything else. And, you know, so as we grow, these properties may become useful to us. And I mean, I'm not an expert, but I mean, if we decide that 10 years from now we don't want them for anything, we can always sell them. You know, so it's not like we can't sell them. We'll probably make more money selling them 10 years from now than we paid for them in the first place, so whatever. I just think we might as well take them on.
Okay, the slide that's currently on the screen is two photos from our surveyors of the current conditions of the Napa Trail, so.
Yeah, yeah.
They-
No,
they-
not very obvious, is it?
It was a long stretch where they had to hoof it, because there are stretches that you can't get anything down. Next slide. So the last road parcel is this little sliver of property where the old Highway 3 was redesigned. There's multiple structures have exceeded property lines onto this piece of parcel. It's not a great parcel. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, especially with the trail right beside it. There's little need, I feel, for this parcel in particular. But that'll be determined at a later date, I guess.
Thank you.
Next slide.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah. And then-
Councillor Church.
In the Sim Settlement one, I know there used to be a small provincial day use park there. Is that near there? It was decommissioned some time ago.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Your Clarissa's saying no, but there was a little picnic park there for quite a few years. It was a very nice little area, but it was, as I say, decommissioned or closed.
yeah, four of the parcels to the southeast are owned by the municipality next to
Okay.
the trail, so more of a buffer. but,
Warden Weber.
I guess just like, you know, you go back to the one, the big long one, the 11-kilometer one. I mean, if nothing else, it's green space, you know, which helps from an environmental standpoint over the course of time, when growth takes place and people are building, and it helps preserve water, it helps prevent flooding, it helps, you know. There's a lot of reasons why owning property would be useful to us over the course of time. It's gonna become harder, not easier. Anyway. that's it
The
for
old
me.
saying is they're not building any land anymore.
No, they aren't, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can remember going on this road 40 years ago. It was all red clay. And I was with my father. Okay. Anyway, it was quite a trip. Sorry, Councillor Cooley.
I'm just saying that the particular one here for Sim Settlement, owning it gives us that opportunity not to do anything with it in the future if we need to, but having it controls what somebody else, you know, so we do need to at least acknowledge the fact that it's ours for the take and we should keep it. Whether we utilize it is a different story, but we can control having it
If we take it over though, and those structures ask us, can we get a road in there, that means we're obligated to give them access.
But that can be down the road, yeah, okay, thank you.
Anything further? Excuse me, Councillor Vino, let me turn your mic on. Councillor Vino?
I guess I have a question for council, through the chair. I don't remember, because I remember, when we, because there was originally a list of 50-some unopened roads, I think, or 60, I can't remember. And, we've shortlisted it down to 10 or so.
These ones
That
here.
are these ones, but what was the rationale for this particular piece? I don't remember how this one got in the list, because most of them were tied to like recreational potential, like access to water, parks, the Annapolis Trail, obviously for trail work, whatever, but this one is kind of a, seems like it doesn't fit with the other ones, and I'm not questioning its value at this point yet. What I'm asking is if someone on council can, or staff, can remind me why we shortlisted this one.
Tara?
If I recall correctly, and I'd have to go back and check the minutes to be certain, but if I recall correctly, it wasn't a short list from council, I don't think. I think what it was a short list from the province. So we went to the province and said, of all of these unopened roads, which ones are you willing to enter into negotiations?
Okay.
They came back and gave us a short list, and we said, go do the investigations on all of them, and now we're bringing that back so that we can then shortlist and
Okay.
go from there. I think that's what it was, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think that's what it was, but okay.
Anything further? Thank you, staff, that's quite an undertaking, I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's where we're at.
We have nothing else, there's more discussion.
Okay, I guess before we leave here, I know this is probably a policy and strategy, but I've been informed by Public Works that they're ordering their trees now for the different parks, and I'm putting a request in for a tree for Wild Rose Park. So I guess.
I don't know, sometimes they get you one, sometimes I go get one myself.
Anyway, because she's ordering them.
But I want a big one, that's my only trouble.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You can get
We had the
it.
previous
No,
list.
they were both donated last year, so
Yeah, last
So this year we got a
Yeah,
vote.
why I ask is because the person that donates them doesn't have something happened with the big trees, and so they let me know. So I just wanted to pass that along, so that's what it's about.
I think the nature of the discussion last year was the communities, we don't purchase the trees, but I can't remember the discussion because Wild Rose was our
I
park.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes you put it up for me, well, you usually put it up anyway.
Yeah.
we usually
But
put
but
them up,
but the purchase of the tree, I think, was up to the
I'll
community
go get
organization,
mine, don't worry.
purchase or organize, and
Or the
then we
council.
would,
Council has to
or
approve it.
council.
Abdellah's always trying to get something for nothing.
Yeah,
Can't
so
help
I
it,
think
it's
that
in his
the
nature.
discussion
Philip
last
will
year
give me
was,
one.
the municipality
I just
didn't
gotta
purchase
call
the
him,
trees,
tell
but we would help install the trees.
That's what I recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then
Where's
I'll,
the tree ever in the house?
so would it be appropriate if I had, because I have a district grant request coming from Together We Can Park. And I expect that they're gonna, because the same person that donated it for Wild Rose donated it for, so I expect that they won't. So could they request it within their grant, district grant?
Pretty sure they can.
That fine? Okay, fair, perfect. Thank you. We're adjourned.